Joe Rogan called out Donald Trump for deflecting after the pair's 3-hour interview aired on Friday, October 25th. He's real good at, you ask him a question, and he starts to answer it, but then he takes you on a totally different route. But you got to bring him back in, but you got to be respectful, Rogan told guests Eddie Bravo, Brendan Schaub and Bryan Callen during the latest episode of his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. He's got this ability to just keep going. This is what's crazy, like the podcast was 3 hours long. The guy didn't pee before the podcast. He didn't pee after the podcast. He just left, Rogan added. Rogan's guests also asked if he was nervous to sit down with the ex-president. I was definitely hyped up. I was excited because there was a lot of questions I needed to answer, he said. Rogan also pointed out how funny Trump was during the interview. The problem with the Trump stuff is just that the people look at the inflammatory things he says, the crazy S, and they define him by that, Rogan said. You also have to remember, this is a very bizarre combination of an entertainer and a businessman. He's like a comedian, man. He says funny S, he added. My point is people don't know what to do with that, and they want to pretend that all these other people are somehow morally better because you don't see the real them. Rogan also said this was the first time the two ever had a real conversation. He likes making deals. That's what it is. That's his whole thing, he shared. As OK previously reported, Trump, 78, couldn't seem to answer some questions during the podcast. When the media personality, 57, asked Trump what it was like to become the president in 2017, he said, well, first of all, it was very surreal. It was very interesting. The businessman then spoke about nearly dying in July. When I got shot, it wasn't surreal. That should have been surreal. When I was lying on the ground, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly where I was hit. They said you were hit all over the place because there was so much blood from the ear.